Hello! Happy, Wednesday. Alright, so simulan natin para mabilis. Biggest news of the day, guys. Again, welcome. Salamat sa inyong mga comments eventually at engagement maya-maya, hopefully. Biggest news of the day. Proclamation, proclaimed na ang ating incoming President and Vice President. So it's official. It's gonna be President-elect Bongbong Marcos and President or Vice President-elect, I should say, Sara Duterte. So congratulations. We need to support them as I keep saying, isang bansa tayo. But hindi sila Diyos, hindi sila poon. The moment that, we have to be fair, just like what you would expect from a Lenny Kiko-inspired na public citizens here, right? So pag may ginagawang mabuti, i-congratulate, mag-thank you. Kapag may ginagawang medyo hindi ganun kabuti, then we need to add that to the public discourse. We need to say something about it, right? Para maging accountable yung leaders natin. Even if they're not the leaders that we want, we need them to be accountable. We need to be good, Filipinos, right? Not just paying taxes, pero other parts pa that comes with it, with supporting the leadership, right? Okay, a couple of things na I picked up from today's news. So yung proclamation, ito, mga 90% patas na ng lahat ng COC sa Pilipinas. May mga pending pa rin. Pero so far, Bongbong Marcos has 31.6 million votes. And that's about 58 or 59% majority. And huling nangyari yan, ironically or coincidentally, huling nangyari yung majority na yan, was in 1969 sa tatay niya, kay President Ferdinand Marcos. That was the only time na ganun ka plurality yung lumabas dun sa election natin. So, is that a good sign? Is that a bad sign? We'll see. Pero that's why we have to keep having discussions, diba? So that we don't have a repeat of yesteryears. Yes, nandiyan na yan, nangyari, nanalo, but we have to do our individual part para hindi uli maulit. Right? Okay, tapos kay Lenny naman, based on the count so far, akala natin before 14.8 million, no, nadagdagan pa. 15,035,000 people or Filipinos voted for VP Lenny. So tandaan natin, 15,035,000 Filipinos voted for VP Lenny. So that tells you na kahit 5-6 na buwan lang na solidify yung pink movement or yung mga kakampings, malaki na yung narating nila and how much more 3-6 na taon, right? I'll keep saying that if we are to build a strong opposition, we need to hold on, kapit lang, we need to hold on to the relationships we built before. Marami tayo, 15 million, right? Okay, next. Apart from the proclamation, sinabi din na although 90% na yung COCs, may side note lang na medyo nagalit si Zubiri dahil merong mga COCs or certificates, 7 COCs to be specific, na nawawala dun sa ballot boxes. Pagbukas nila, walang laman. Some of the examples were COCs from Manila, Mandaluyong, and some other parts of the country, mostly Mindanao, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So parang sabi pa ni Zubiri, the COMELEC had one job to ensure na may laman yung mga ballot boxes na or COCs ballot boxes na dumating dun sa Batasang Pamansa, right? Pero walang laman. Sabi ng COMELEC na malamang daw, kulang sa tulog yung mga nag-ayos ng COCs. Pero di ba, that's not an excuse na walang laman yung papadala nilang ballot box. But again, we're not doing any conspiracy theory, legitimate yung mandate, 31 million, that's just way too big of a gap, right? And makikita naman natin later sa good news, bad news na yung camp ni VP Lenny, they've already accepted that mandate, not directly conceding, pero with the words and the actions that they're doing, diba? Okay. And then nakikita na rin natin na unti-unting nabubuo yung gabinete, nadadagdagan pa. And this is something I want to post to you guys. May mga nagsasabi din na what if kunin, kasi nakita na natin na may mga kinuha na progressive, may mga kinuha sa Pinoy administration, quote-unquote, Dilawan administration, dito sa BBM administration, right? So what if tawagin ni BBM si VP Lenny and sabihin na, Lenny, what if ikaw yung mag-head ng, let's say, DSWD? For me, I'm personally torn about it kasi nga because of all the moral dilemma. Pero gets ko rin yung argument na you have to think about what's good for the country, and we know that VP Lenny is gonna do an awesome, tremendous, exceptional job at DSWD. Pero I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that question. Right? Okay. Moving on, punta tayo dun sa good news and bad news part. We have to be balanced. I-congratulate yung mga tama, punahin yung mga medyo mali, right? Good news from the news I saw for today so far, past couple of days. Number one dyan, si Romulo Macalintal. Ito yung election lawyer na hinar ni VP Lenny. He took the podium and he said, essentially pinaraphrase and the direct quote niya yung sinabi ni VP Lenny na habang unti-unti nang naliliwanagan yung litrato ng tinig ng Pilipino kung anong gusto nila, dapat nating irespeto yung gusto ng nakararami. And with that, he said na they will not be contesting yung mga COCs na kinakanvas, right? And that tells you kung gaano sila, how much they value not just their words but the actions after it. Kasi nga, They told us dun sa pasasalamat, they're consulting data scientists, they're consulting statisticians, and kung meron silang objection or anything smelling too funny, apart from their usual irregularities na nakikita natin lagi, pero something systemic na something sobrang laki, they would have contested it, right? Pero they know that the 31 million, we know na 31.6 million mandate na, is solid, so hindi na nila kinontest yun. Yan si Topsy pala. So they're saying na para ma-expedite so that the nation can move forward and we should take a cue from that, hindi na nila kinontest. And this is a direct contrast kung anong nangyari nung 2016, I wanna say, si President or VP, let's say candidate, Bongbong before, he contested every COC or many of the COCs. Kaya natagalan yung pagka-canvas. According din sa nabasa ko, tumagal ng 3 araw yata yung pagka-canvas because of all of them, because of him specifically, contesting yung mga COC. Ngayon, ilang oras lang, nagsimula sila today and natapos sila today. Right? So that's good in terms of making the country move forward. Right? Okay. Next, good news. Couple of things I saw. Libreng sakay sa MRT. Tuloy pa rin until June 30. So, tama yan. I mean, I'm glad that's continuing. I've experienced being a commuter myself. So, kahit yung mga 15 pesos, 20 pesos na yan, 25 pesos na yan sa MRT one way, napakalaking ginhawa na yan, napakalaking tulong na yan with a little amount of money you're saving, especially sa mga arawan dyan, sa mga basic lang yung salary, right? So, nakakatulong yan, right? Kung kaya ng gobyerno gawin yan, bakit hindi nila ituloy-tuloy yan, right? And as we'll keep saying, yung mga project that aims to benefit yung mga mas nakararami like daily commuters, we have to applaud that, but we also have to think na teka, may panggagalingan ba yung budget nito? Uutang ba tayo because of doing this? Gagawin lang ba natin to para magpabango? Para maging populist? Or do we actually have the budget for this? Right? On face value, tama yan. Naalala ko pa nga na ginawa nila yung MRT, libreng sakay, parang yung NEDA chief sinasabi, teka, hindi pa natin alam kung saan kukunin yung budget. But eventually, probably they figured it out, pero hindi ko na alam yung specifics, how they balance it out. But, you know, it's good na hindi siya utang, right? So far, I haven't read anything about that. So that should continue kasi nga that's for the public use. In the same way na ayaw natin na palakihin lang ng palakihin yung mga daan, we need innovations in public mass transportation. So the more trains that we build, the more mass transport that we build, mas marami yung makikinabang. Hindi yung mga nakakotse, hindi na kailangan ng mga nakakotse ng mga ganang infrastruktura masyado. Kasi nga, komportable na sila, di ba? What we need is mass transport. But we need to know, utang ba to? How are they getting it? Right? Okay, next. Dagdag din sa MRT part, good part nun, medyo secondary. Bulacan, MRT, hanggang sa North Avenue, operational na daw yon ng December 2022. So that's awesome. Sa mga nanggagaling ferry, mga nanggagaling Bulacan, sobrang tagal sa Commonwealth. So laking ginhawa yan. Laking ginhawa yan. So I'm excited to see that. Okay, next. Isang good news, in-announce ng OWA na iso-stop na nila yung transportation and accommodation assistance sa mga OFW natin. Kasi nga daw, level 1, medyo matagal na. And I'm gonna have to agree with this kasi medyo nakalimutan na nga natin na merong pandemya. And I was not even aware na meron pang assistance ongoing sa mga OFW natin, right? Again, I have to say that mga bagong bayani natin yan, mga OFW, malaking remittance na pinapadala niyan. And for a certain time, naging OFW din ako myself, so I appreciate the assistance that's being given by the government, diba? Pero we have to be fair as well. Like, parang wala nang ang pandemya. Why are we still giving a blanket assistance sa mga OFW, mga kababayan natin? Alam natin malaking tulong. Pero we have to be fair, right? There's other people na mas malaki yung pangangailangan. Yung mga OFW natin, we know for a fact, medyo mas malaki yung kinikita niyan. They can afford public transportation coming from the airport. Hindi na nila kailangan yung mga chartered bus, especially mga chartered flight. May mga ganun pa daw na assistance because they can afford it. Sa panahon ngayon, sino pa ba yung mga umuwi ng Pilipinas? Yung mga naipit ng pandemic? I don't think so. Matagal lang nagbukas yung mga bansa, right? So yung mga umuwi ng Pilipinas ng OFW, they do not need assistance at this point. So we should congratulate every time may nakikitang budget na hindi naman tama yung paggamit, or it's just being wasted, or it could be used more efficiently. In my opinion, isa to sa mga to, itong assistance na to, we could use it for a lot of other things na pwedeng OWA-related or other departments of the government, diba? Okay, good. Punta tayo dun sa medyo bad news part ng ating live number 1 na tinake down ko dito ay Imelda. Imelda, umattend siya ng proclamation ni President BBM. Of course, siya yung mom. May quote dito si Amy na parang nawala na daw yung sakit niya. Lahat ng sakit na iniinda niya. We know she's old, yes, that's granted. Pero ngayon maliksi na daw, quote-unquote. Yung mga hindi na siya nakakarinig masyado. So, in short, she was up and about, right? And we have to remember, we have to be fair. Tandaan natin, she has 7 counts of graft coming from the Sandigan Bayan. And we know where that's coming from the Marcos era pa. And the only reason why nasa labas siya is because of humanitarian reasons, a big part of it. I mean, other than political dynasty sila, maraming backroom dealing ongoing, etc., etc. Pero humanitarian reason daw kasi nga 92 na, right? But if you're really gonna look at it, I mean, she's showing all signs of health. Bakit hindi siya nasa selda, right? I'm not advocating to be anti-humanitarian. We need to be humanitarian, pero we need to be fair as well. Ang dami dyan, I'm sure, madami dyan na nasa bilibid na hindi pinapayagang mag-house arrest na 90s na or 80s na pero nasa bilibid pa rin or matanda na, but they're not being given the same humanitarian reasons, right? Why? Because money and power. Huwag na tayong maglokohan dyan. Okay. Next, number 2 na nilista ko dito ay yung isa pang cabinet member na inassign ni BBM. So, ito ay si Trixie Cruz Angeles. Inassign na siya, and I think na kinonfirm na din ni Trixie that she's gonna be the head of the presidential communications body or POCC. So, essentially, siya yung magiging press secretary, right? I put this on the bad news column of our discussion kasi maraming mga lumalabas na additional insights about her, right? Una, that she's not really coming from from a very strong journalistic background, right? Like we have to give credit kunyari si President Digong. So kay Digong, at least si Martin Andanar, you know he's a legit journalist, right? In the industry, he's been there, patalon-talon na ng station yan, and nobody can question na yes, meron siyang deep journalistic background. Pero itong si Trixie, meron ding caveat that I'm going to mention to be fair as well. Meron siyang, I think right now, host siya sa DWIZ, DWIZ, ng isang program na tinatawag na Karambola, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't really know what they talk about there. So meron siyang journalistic background in that sense, as a radio host. However, the other things people are saying ay, dahil hindi nga siya coming from a very solid journalistic background, ang malamang na mangyari ay ma-legitimize lang itong mga secondary parang influencers or political commentators na nakikita natin ngayon. Kasi she's one of them. Isa daw siyang lawyer, yes, and isa din daw siyang vlogger, right? So that means na itong mga sila Thinking Pinoy, itong sila who else? Sa Sangkay, I don't really know the name. Itong sila Maharlika, that will be further legitimized. Magkakaroon sila ng voice, lalo pang lalaking audience nila because the press secretary is coming from that kind of animal of a journalistic background. I wouldn't say journalistic, pero same kind of media background or multimedia background, being a vlogger herself, right? Nothing against vloggers per se, kasi I'm essentially one myself in this case, pero you have to look at what the press secretary is all about, diba? And what the old press secretaries were. Sino-sino ba sila? Like, meron bang vlogger na naging press secretary before? We don't know if she's gonna do a great job. Maybe, pero what we'd hate to see is baka parang maging Kellyanne Conway ng Pilipinas, si Trixie Cruz Angeles. Na si Kellyanne Conway, she's known for coining the term alternative facts. Mali. Alternative reality pala. Alternative reality sa US. Sobrang naging polarized doon. So baka dito in her role, I hope not, as press secretary, maging puro vloggers na lang yung pinakikinggan ng mga tao instead of the legitimate mainstream sources na talagang nag-validate nung stories nila before they run it, and they're not just opinions, right? Okay, to be fair to Ma'am Trixie, ito yung background niya na iba, lawyer siya, and hindi siya bago sa POCC, dun sa Presidential Communication Wing. So in the early years of Duterte daw, member siya nung body na yan. So, si Andanar mismo nagsabi niya na dati member siya. So, that's one. And then, dinefend niya dati, being a lawyer, si Nicanor Faildon. Faildon, isa to sa mga Oakwood mutineers na kasama ni Trillanes. So, dinefend niya yun. Parang isa to sa mga rise to fame ni Ma'am Trixie, being a lawyer. Being a lawyer as well. Tapos si Faildon pala parang sinasante ni Digong because hindi daw sinunod ni Digong yung utos niya. Anyway, moving on. Suspended lawyer siya. For a time ngayon, active na yata ulit. Correct me if I am mistaken. Yung reason why she was suspended ay tumanggap siya ng isang annulment case worth 350,000 pesos. And according dun sa dinefend niya, hindi enough yung ginawa niyang let's say pag-defend yung case or pag-handle ng case. Kaya parang nagreklamo siya dun sa IBP or the bodies of lawyers. And that's why nasuspend siya, right? Wala daw ginawa dun sa 350,000. Essentially nasayang. Pero to be fair to Miss Trixie, ang sabi niya hindi daw siya nabigyan ng due process kaya siya nasuspend. And hindi daw enough yung binigay na proof nitong nag-complain sa kanya na kliyente niya dati na nagbayad ng 350,000. Kulang-kulang daw yung proof. Right? Yun yung sinabi ni Ma'am Trixie. Okay, yun si Trixie. And then the third point, dun sa bad news part, medyo related din sa media. Lumabas dyan sa feed nyo, I'm sure you know, itong brouhaha about Net25 and yung item medyo kamot na lang ako. Item about it's opinion masquerading as news. Lumabas siya sa news nila. And napanood ko siya, and it's essentially criticizing si Yuma Robredo about posting constantly about being simpleng tao, blah 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 blah. I'm sure you've seen that, right? Now, the danger there, kasi parang nagiging SMNI na din yung format of the way that they're giving news, because it's not really news, it's more on commentary. Okay lang naman if you properly labeled it as commentary, right? Parang yung mga vloggers, commentary, opinion, but if it's there, prime time, tapos yung declarations or statements that are within the story are not really classified as opinions or not properly labeled as opinions, then it's like you're going against the guidelines ng KBP, which they are a member of, right? So some people are saying, ireklamo nyo yan, and people have a right to do that if they think that, and I don't know how many have done that so far. The danger there, kapag masyadong naging opinions masquerading as news, wala nang pinagkaibayan or wala nang magiging pagkakaibayan sa nangyayari sa phenomena sa states. Like Fox or Fox Channel, lahat yun sinasabi, they're saying they're a news agency. In fact, they're the most popular cable news channel sa states. Pero karamihan nun, 90%, 95% opinions masquerading as news. Puro opinions. Tingnan nyo lang. Same thing with OAN. One American Network. If you think Fox is biased for Republicans, sobrang mas biased pa yung OAN in comparison to Fox. Manilang yung Fox compared to OAN. So, ganyan yung pwedeng mangyari sa SMNI and sa Net25 if they don't try to appear a little bit more balanced. And oddly enough, yung Fox and OAN, they cater to mostly conservative audiences. SMNI, Net25, we know yung background nila, they belong to religious organizations. So parang dun na siya papunta if something is not done about it, right? Okay, I think I've talked enough. Yun lang sa ngayon. Plug ko lang yung YouTube channel, The Pink Movement. I just uploaded another video. Ang video na yan, in case gusto nyo mag-reminisce, ito yung ang presidente, vice-presidente chant ni Gab, pati ni Gary V. So please watch it. Lahat ng proceeds coming from the channel, from this video, from Instagram, all of the social media channels ng Pink Movement, ito donate natin yan sa Angat Buhay NGO. Yun lang, salamat sa pakikinig. Bye! Ayo, nos vemos!